Hi everyone, Evelyn here. I have 3 messages of the day for you since I wasn't here yesterday. I have one from Thursday, one from Friday, and one from today. And I have my 7-deck read on the table there for you. So maybe you might want to pick one of the 3 reads for you today to see which one might be most significant for you. And I will call them out as read number 1, read number 2, read number 3 in the order that I did them, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday today. We are going to roll the die. Let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths first. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. Another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to everybody. I hope you're having a great day. It's beautiful and sunny out here today. It is a little bit hot. I was just out for a jog, so if I'm still out of breath, that's why. And I had some great pictures from my tree out front this morning. While I was doing my read today, I was guided to go out front that I'd have a gift. And then I was finding all these cicada bodies everywhere that are still stuck to the tree and all over the ground around it. And then I had taken some pictures of the tree, and of course I looked at them, and one of the pictures was these guys here. Let me move this light out of the way a little bit here. So I don't know how well you can see it, but I can see it pretty well. So you got the big guy here, and there's a little guy here, and then this little guy here as well. So let me just see if I can get this a little bit more in focus. Actually, now that I'm looking at it from this angle, it looks like my dad's face, even though it looks masked from straight on. That was funny. But yeah, there's some amazing pictures. So here is that same picture. It's just a little bit different coloring, but you might be able to see it a little bit better that it's more far out. And I'm going to tag this video with another picture from today, and it's literally the Divine Feminine lying on a branch, and there is a grasshopper stalking her next to 2 pyramids, and there was people everywhere in this picture. Not that you're not going to be able to see them all in the cut that I did for you guys, but yes, so much energy was coming through in the tree out front today. And again, the grasshopper is significant too, as in, I always think of my little grasshopper, right? My student with talent. Yeah, a lot of interesting stuff came up, and just at the last minute at the end of this read today, some weird stuff came up too. So I want to get right into that. I'm going to start with the 18th, August 18th, 2022, the message of the day. They're all three reads the same, with Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams, all 3 decks. And I'll show you each of the pictures as I go. Let's see here. All right, this is the first one. I'll show you the picture of the first one, and then I'm going to roll the die for you. All right. So here is the first read from the 18th, or Thursday. Let's see if I can get that a little bit more focused. So again, these are the underlying energies for the 3 decks. I also have a pile at the end of each read that I usually have to count. And then the cards in between are the cards that came out organically, whether they came out by themselves or 2 at a time. I put them out the same way they come out of the deck. I'm going to put it up a little bit closer, see if I can get a better shot of these pictures. Okay, so Metatron, Nature's Whispers, and Shaman Dreams. Okay, so all 3 reads will be the same setup, so I won't have to tell you each time. And let's roll the die for today, which is the 20th of August, 2022. So today is 34. So we have the 20 of Judgment and the 34, the 8 of Wands, energetic exchange, the arrows of love, a lot of movement back and forth, or energetic exchange, communication, travel, all of that. And the 20 of Judgment, the wake-up call, perhaps making a big decision. And actually that was one of the cards that came up at the end of one of the reads, was the need to make a decision. On this day it was the 18th and 32, which is the 6 of Wands, the journeyman, bringing in good news, and the 18 of the moon, which romance has been coming up this week for the moon. So let's get right into this first read from the 18th. It was done 12:38 to 40. The 12 of the Hanging Man, 38 is the Queen of Cups, 39 is the Knight of Cups, and then 40 is the Page of Cups. So very emotionally based, loving energy there, and being wise, seeing new perspectives, hanging out. And the die, let's see what the dice have to say for today, the 20th. And it's 5 o'clock on the nose here. All right, we have the 10, the high vibe destiny energy. For me, it's also Libra, and it's also October, which is Libra going into Scorpio, the balance, the scales. We have Capricorn here. And then we have, over here, we have the North Node, which is in Taurus. Okay. So we have Taurus leading the way with Capricorn and Libra. I'm just feeling into that for a second. And so we have, you know, Taurus is a fixed sign, but it's in the North Node, which is leading the way. So it's still kind of like cardinal because it's in the North Node right now. And then Capricorn and Libra are both cardinal signs. There's a lot of cardinal energy there, as well as the father energy balancing out, and the Taurus energy of not giving up, you know, that persistence. Okay. So this read, I had a tummy ache this morning too on the 18th. I woke up in the morning with a tummy ache, probably from what I ate the night before, but it took a while for it to go away. It was not fun. And vital force was coming up again, that elan vitale. The underlying energy of this read was Mother Earth, which was 18, the moon, and romance again, and grounding support. The ice cube was coming up again, which was funny because I'd just given Teddy some ice cubes to play with. And then the 3 cards that came up were 18, 2, and 8, which is the 18 of romance, the 2 of the High Priestess, the 8 of the dance, which 28 is also the twin flames. So 0.18 for me is also the purple moon, which is 0.28, the twin flames. It was the 18 of Mother Earth, grounding support, the 2 of the illumination, and the 8 of crown games, which has to do with power plays. Mother Earth, Daughter Moon, and the dance of crown games and right use of power. The romance of the divine feminine high priestess dance and strength to manifest dreams. Hydra, water and drinking. Dragon, air and breathing. Healing hands of coming together, conquering your fears for dreams to come true one step at a time. The Queen of Cups 38 and her light body activated with the King of Wands 23 in duality and needing balance. And Mother Earth there for grounding support, and or daughter support here as well. The daughter's been coming up all week. The illumination of the dark side of the moon. So the daughter's been coming up as the core of the earth, that when she gains her independence, she gets separated from the earth and becomes the moon. Whereas the father is the central sun, and then the sun is the rays of the sun coming out. The removing of the masks and crowns, you know, off with their head. The Page of Cups showing their innocent support, their pure love, with the 32 of that journeyman, and trusting your own understanding of things, your own vision. The 7 of the Little Chariot, amping up your emotions, your positive emotions, creating ripples to heighten your vitality. The Mountain, the life force, self-satisfaction, the momentum. The 13 of transition and renewal of peace in that transition. The baby in the nook of the tree, and the father not wanting to let go of the daughter, so the mother takes her there to her independence. And then endless love came up. The 46 of the Page of Cups and that little root girl, the disowned self. the Knight of Swords and the curious stranger about the spirit of the river, and the 50 of emotional fulfillment and that happy family and how to get there. The wood, the water, and fire and air. The emotion feeds the wood, the air feeds the fire. Where talk is cheap and emoting, hydrating, grows trees and offshoots of the trunk. The woodwives, adaptable to the 10 of Swords, of alchemizing and transmuting pain, and the bliss of creating space between her and the trunk, or the father who's having trouble letting go of the daughter, or the father, or one who doesn't bridge, or doesn't budge, right? Doesn't do those things very well. And the need to remove the crown or ego here, to let go. The first card out was the Castle on a Cloud, the Page of Swords message of higher realms and magic. And magic is the magnetism of the inner child. The dimensional gateway via the number 33. The Golden Gate Bridge to the Space Needle was coming up again here, which came up the other day connected to Bill Gates, and perhaps something else going on underground that we don't know about there. The cooling of the fields in the trip to the moon. And then, of course, the honeymooners comes up with that, and Alice, to the moon, Alice. The cooling of the fields and the trip to the moon. And then what came up here, though, was Killington, Vermont, which is the New England area, the whole northeastern side of the country. From AddisonIndependent.com was August 18th, 22, which was the same day I wrote this, on August 18th. The curtain to rise on MNFF8, but it was misspelled in the title as MMFF8. It's the film festival to offer thrills, stars, and more. The Middlebury New Filmmakers Festival. From August 24th to the 28th, where 140 features and shorts on 6 screens and 5 venues, and lots of events will be happening. And again, the website for that is midfilmfest.org. But all must be vaccinated and show their cards to be let in. At 7/4/22, from another header that came up with that same page, from 2010 to 2020, Killington's population went up 73%. And then KillingtonBlog.com came up regarding Synexis technology. It's Synexis, a biodefense dry hydrogen peroxide energy here. It's a patented DHP obviously for dry hydrogen peroxide. It's like a sphere that you can hang on the wall for antibacteria, antivirus for like restaurants and such like that. And they were advertising that in the Birch Ridge Inn there at 139, which is the Magician and the Knight of Cups. That day also, nebulas were coming up. The Lyman Alpha Nebula and the Lyman Alpha Lines. The gas cloud, it's huge. It's like bigger than a galaxy. An intergalactic space 2.47 TH2 or THZ lines. It's just huge. But again, the energy of the momentum, of building momentum. And the moose was coming up again there too, which the moose is different from the elk in that it's not part of a pack. They pair off. Same thing as the raven as opposed to the crow, so the same reference. And that came up for the twins in separate readings in the past couple weeks. So at 140, which is the Magician and the Page of Cups, that innocent love, the Page of Swords of Mother Earth's message to stand up, divine feminine, where time out is needed. With compassionate reflecting and wake-up clarion call, the trees call to the sun regarding boundaries, looking for auras, keys, nature, and stone. Setting boundaries daily of nature and love. As 41 comes up as self-love, spiritual love, and new love, as above, so below in this deck, and the 11 of alignment with the mouthpiece. The embouchure came up, which is the muscles that you use in your face when you're using a reed instrument. You build up a very strong embouchure, which I played the oboe when I was young, so I understand this very much because it's a double reed. It's probably the most difficult embouchure as far as musical instruments. I'm not positive about that, but that's what I was always told when I was playing it. So I don't know why embouchure came up, and using your facial muscles. There may be a need for you to use your facial muscles. I recently got glass straws for me and my kids, so we've been sucking out of the straw, which also builds up muscles, so there may be a need for that. And embouchure comes up as to put in one's mouth. From Latin bucca, which is cheek, the mouth of a river or valley, or horse's bit, or mouthpiece, again literally. Using cheek muscles in language to light up the path. And I was getting very much like when you speak French, you naturally kind of go into using that embouchure, the way they speak their language. So I need to use your stretch your language muscles. The 14 of the Temperance card then came up, and the cards were 41, 11, and 14, which is an exact reflection, right? It's the all for one and one for all type of energy here. The all, AWL, 41, and then the 11 aligning in the center, and then the 14 of the owl was coming up. Also LWA, which is the reverse of owl, and LWO, which is hand and arm, but LWA is God and spirit, law, to fight, struggle, and tear. The maker of holes and the wise bird, or the God and the hand. The 16 cards then came up of sudden events, the Tower event at 156, which is the Magician and the Two of Swords, of being in your knowing, with the Emerald Order, the 39 Knight of Cups, with signs and synchronicities from Spirit with Love, and the 50 of the Emerald Bird, and the transformation of light and dark. That 31 of chaos as the light comes in, and the need to transmute that, to alchemize it into something more purposeful, more channeled, not so chaotic, right, or controlled. The 40 of the Page of Cups, evolution of pure sweetheart to brave heart of love in the aqua rose gold mother's heart, the child of evolution, and the mother of relationship and harmony. The Queen of Wands, orange, aura and NGE, which is the aura of unity, to stretch and lunge. Again, the energy of good natural energy, the cozy and snug, the sheltered, to lose energy, or Lu, Scorpion was coming up, and LU, to unite and join, leisure time, opportunities, small, little, eye, face, and person, but LU doesn't have Lucifer as one of its definitions. It comes up as the root or the path, or the division of imperial China, life, the vagina, well, red, swinging motion, to offer, donate, trumpet, wolf, animal, bone, fox, vase for water, and head all came up. The path of unity, or eye to eye and face to face, leisure time. The aura of unity, the path of unity, from orange and lunge, the monk's pose, to release energy when too much fire builds up. The 16 of the gold cup, the ancient one's rail, with 2 spirals of the heart that weave in and out to infinitum, in high vibe new dawn, which dawn is the 2 U's of Dan. Welcome back, and Dan means Lord. The truck or sledge, used in coal mines. Black belt, the tooth, the dawn, to count, to sow, to pass beyond. Water, Denmark, wall and roof. Within, made noble, or clergy, to give, grant, provide with, eager, lustful, moved with, or impressed by fear. And day, old, path, trail, and way. Thanks, under, border, to neutralize or counteract someone's charm or spell, to shine or be smooth, to polish, to boast, to scrape, and to shave all came up for Dan. So dawn is Dan and the 2 U's of W. So the new dawn is the new trail of 2 U's or W, the day of Denmark, the 27 of Metatron's arc, and the breath of the dragon, and the emotion of Hydra, the snake and the serpent. The fire-breathing dragons, remember drag on, like dragging in, is breathing, the ether's breath, the wind beneath your wings instead of gravity. The dragon's pyramid with edges for the divine feminine to smooth out. And cap, put a cap on it, a lid on it. The 46 of the children and the 25 of the Knight of Wands with a love for life. And that purge in the ending of each day, held by compassion, calm passion, and the truth of the shaman and the lyran, the flute and the lyre, the small horn and the small harp. At 227, the High Priestess and the Ace of Wands. And then we are family came up again with Sister Sledge, 227, and that definition came up of sledge as one of the definitions of Dan. At 227, the High Priestess and that new passion, and the 49 of the Nine of Cups and getting your wish, and satisfying meet and greet at sunrise with the family, the rising of the fall, in the spring become the rose or risen, the emerald order brought back together, the coal miner's daughter, Sissy Spacek or Space Arc, or the inner child, Spacek, the space inner child, sledge for coal miners, and the 49ers. The plate with edge, the gold miners, use plates with edges on them to mine coal. The risers and the risen, the spring chickens already took the fall into winter. The winter's coming up as the wind over the ruin. The bull and the river, to have and to hold, possess, the tar, the third trimester of the pregnancy, the wind over possession, bull and stubbornness, and the river that wants to take you there, the wind to be rich, possess, or be afflicted by this, to give birth to a win, consider, interact, to sweat it out, and answer uncle. The winter is to win over all obstacles in my way. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. All right, so that's coming up. I can see clearly now the rain has gone. In the spring, having risen from the fall, and the need to win and possess, I have risen above and become the infinite student of life, the coil that greets momentum. The little drummer boy, the heartbeat that excites you and keeps you going, not knowing when the end will be. And by the way, I had listened to a Cryon episode, and Cryon was talking about his title for what we're going through now is the winter of consciousness. So when they're talking about the winter, they're not talking about the 4 seasons, they're talking about a longer winter, right? We're in the winter of our consciousness, which will then go into the spring of our consciousness. So it's, there is newness to be had soon. The 39 of the Knight of Cups and the clear endeavor here. And endeavor again comes up as the end of the EA, the emotional attachments. And then the Vor, which is the spring. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. The vortex, the spring unit of linear mass, or the raft unit of linear mass, the density for thread of fiber, the thin wire, silver or gold thread, the tongue, the language, the string, the cord, the telegram, the two, and soon, the spring spiral density, a language that connects us all, that strikes a chord with us, right? A common language between all of us. The 2 springs equals the woven heart, the articulated ascension device, which was the device that Sam the illusionist had said in his channeling, was the device that was stolen by the reptilians from 9/11, and that was the whole reason for the event. The articulated ascension device, the woven heart. So it's saying you don't need the device. The twin flames are the woven heart, the articulated ascension device, the thread that connects us all. The 251 of the High Priestess and the King of Swords, the Knight of Cups, and the 11, the aligning with decision to end emotional attachments in the spring, with laughter, the 47 of synchronicities and choices, and heaven in your eyes, and the play of synchronicities and choices, and heaven on earth, and riding horses, with the hermit in the perfect setting, with the magician making a wish, From end to begin, the 27 of the Ace of Wands, with childlike inspiration, the 29 of the Three of Wands, contemplating the gift of the lion's heart, and the clarion call to higher ground with the rose. The springboard. The 7 cards here came up with the chariot of the butterfly and the beast, and the abundance of celebrating our differences. The mother unicorn and the dolphin child, where land meets sea, the sky of the bird, and then the I am of the flying fish, the catfish. So that could be coming up as well. The 26 of the Page of Wands, to be true to your heart, and the 5 of change and clearing out the old in the 22, Fool's Journey in that leap of faith. With the greatest of ease on the flying trapeze, the trap of ease and graceful fall, with the 46 soulmates, the mother and child, in gratitude and appreciation for each other, and the 18 of new experiences and possibilities of romance, the 1 and the 8 of the 18 of the God's dance of romance. And the 3 and the 4 then came up at 304, which is the Empress and the Emperor, the flowering vase of Vogel, and coiled wire near the castle, and the butterfly on the round table of the knights on Mr. Ed, the extra-dimensional or God, the horse that will take you there, just like a prayer. The 18, again, 1 and 8 are the only numbers that are the same right on both sides. 1 to infinitum, to the moon, Alice, in the honeymooners, sweet romance of the 28 twin flame bountiful harvest of Atlas and Hercules. At last, his directions and her harvest. And the numbers that came up here were 18 to 7, then 23 and 24. And that's the romance of the chariot, which is the feminine within the masculine ascending, and then 23 and 24, the King and Queen of Wands. And then from romance came up is the Rome, R-O-M, or Ram, and then the ants, which just ants is once. But the belly, the husband, the bridegroom, and the brill, the flatfish, the wonderful, the cool and amusing. The rum, the place or room, the read-only memory, Roma, ruin, space and outer space, the knot, the grail, and the roe, the egg of fish, the pride, and the Romanian, and just once. Perhaps a tip or gratuity, a person and people, and then Man of La Mancha came up here with Mancha. Romance seal, romance, the romance seal, Man of La Mancha. The roe, but then again, I think Man of La Mancha is actually Spanish, so it's interesting how this came up. But the roe is the canoe, the woman, the Romanian, the calmness, the rest and tranquility, the Greek letter P. To row, dark, bitter, 2, again, the number 2 came up again. The leaf, far, the roe deer, peace, serenity, raw, ra, the R, the exceedingly before, the wire's edge, the corner, the hip, to think, stir, to hoe, to till, to wrap, tie, to sound, to hurt, to ache, the brook, stream, or creek. And then Brooke Shields came up because endless love had just come up. It's hard, and again, the energy came up online around Brooke Shields that it's hard to send her daughter back to school even though it's her sophomore year, not her freshman year, which was interesting too because my friend had just texted me because her daughter's just going in her first year, so she was sad to let her daughter go. The romance, the Man of La Mancha, the husband once, pride once, outer space only once, the belly of the person, the bridegroom's tip or gratuity, the woman, the man's seal, the two-man seal, the serenity of a person, of peace and gratitude, the edge, the corner, the hip of this man or person, to think. To think. Again, to hurt or ache, to sound people, a stream of people, or gratuities here, a stream of gratuities here, which is very much the Man of La Mancha, right? Someone who's always flattering others. The Man of La Mancha equals the man of the people, or the gratuitous. At 328 of abundance and the Empress and the 28 of the twin flames, the mother in the twin flames. The first card out here was the 59 of the wailing tree in reconciliation. The 16 of the sudden emptiness you feel and the need to fill up. The 48 of the sky dancers and the 15 of the dust devil. Suddenly going within, and it's like kicking up the dust as a reminder to move out of stagnation. The 20 of the wake-up call and the feast of plenty. And are you going to get a tummy ache from the feast of plenty? The 42 of the two of cups and the netcaster catching a catch, right? Matchmaker, matchmaker, match, make me a match, buy me a buy, catch me a catch. That's coming up as well. The 41 of love and the moon maiden's new beginning, holding up the sphere for the 61 of the whale's song, resonating, reason, unforgettable, unforge, table. The moon maiden surface and whale down deep, good face and profound, that you are in style with vogue and pose, or Elohim, which is the Elohim, E-L-O-Him, with Vogel and sing. So again, this is Vogue versus Vogel, pose versus sing, be in style versus Elohim, or the E-L-O-Him, right? The electric light orchestra hymn. The VOG of the volcanic smog, the scales and balance, the library or leverage, the pus, the wave to weigh, consider, slay, fight, make way, and to kill, the meadow, fertile lowland, the grassy plain, valley, tobacco plantation, and volatility of the underlying, the pleasure, the vegetarian. So the energy of the UA from Vogel and Vogue, right? We have VOG on each, and then one ends in UE and the other in EL. And UE and EL come up with Libra as one of the definitions. And the volcano, explosive meadows here. The UE and EL and LU of US actually came up as a word there, which is the meadow and pasture, the pleasure of, the volatility of the underlying meadow, the waves of grain, in other words, to fight or kill for the land, right? Willing to fight for that land, and that energy of waves of grain in the song. And how tied to the land we are. But how volatile the land can be, right? Because the land is its own energy. It's its own consciousness. It's coming up here as the 3 and the 44, which is the Empress and the 44 of boredom and apathy, but also grounding, integrating, and mastering, receiving of love. The stare that could kill, or the crystal that can take you there. Bond or Maxwell Smart and 99. It looks good and go together well. The 23 to the 24, or just the Hermit alone. 9 to 3, the Hermit and the Empress, the benefactors of grace and generosity. The 19 of the Sun and exposing the falling angel, going back to sleep. The 11 of alignment of the deep quiet and meditation. And the 14 of the drifter, the driftwood. And the 43 of the overflow of the party. And the 17 of the dream, of intention, the eye of the dream, and I dream of genie, the 45 of repairing the veil, and the articulation ascension of forgiveness, and putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, the needle and the thread. So here's a Nightmare Before Christmas again sewing the pieces of the body back together. The 25 and the soul retrieval, the 25 of the Knight of Wands, in the Garden of Venus, the 31 of chaos in the hand, the heart, and the chariot of unwritten covenant, of the divine feminine within the masculine ascending together, and the 1 of the magician and a tidy house, but the 62 of the prison in the will-o'-the-wisp, of the 54 page of swords, crossing a bridge in order to initiate, the 24 of the Queen of Wands, the galactic mushroom, and the knucklehead, or the good massage, right, because a good massage with the knuckles is coming up, and the 27 of the Ace of Wands, the heart home of compassion, the 44 of the perfect storm to take you there, and the vortex of the mixed bird on the eagle's perch, the 44 to 38, which is the Atlas energy, as in a social worker type energy, to the 38 of the Queen of Cups, and then many masks that she wears. The 51 of the King of Swords here, and the limitless possibilities, the 9 of Cups of self-satisfaction, and skywriting, or writing to sky, Sophia's KY, the energy of 0 point, and the fate of the 63 of the Winter's Dream, the gestation that we're in now according to Cryon, right? The winter of consciousness. The 55 of the Truth, the Ace of Swords of the Farther Gate, of 2 gates and 2 suns. And the episode that Cryon was talking about was all about innate, and innate has nat in it, the unforgettable. So it was putting those two together, and also talking about innate is 2 leaps, it's not just one. It's like you leap to innate, and then innate leaps to spirit. So it's like the 2 gates and the 2 suns that keep coming up in the Farther Gate card, reflecting the 5 and the 5, and the keyhole in the cave that was blasted out in 9/11, the Farther's Gate, the bold step forward in the number 33 of Joyful Muse, which is music, the inner child's muse, and the breathing to inspire action. Remember, inspires to breathe in. At the connection with 2, the beloved, with radical acceptance, because their heart is on fire with a love for life, the 355 of the Empress, and the truth, Excalibur, that they do it for love. So that was number 1. So Cryon had brought up the innate, the 2 bridges to the innate and to source. And the winter of consciousness, which I told you about already, and that was actually came up at 11:11. And he was also talking about our transition here is a transition as human nature is a moving target of change, perpetual change, but we're moving towards maturity of that. You know, and also letting go of the things that have been going wrong back and forth for thousands of years, right? Controlled by the masculine energy, the distorted masculine. Now will no longer happen that way anymore. Things will get settled. But you can watch the Cryon. It was an August 22 episode. It says Cryon, 3 important messages, 822, breathe and love yourself, woke before 10. I think that was the one. So again, all this, the abuses that to children and to women will be coming out, but instead of going back and forth like they always have, just like the presidencies always go back and forth, right? Nothing ever gets solved. Now going forward, it won't align that way anymore. It'll happen until the population won't allow that to happen anymore. The collective will make sure it's done, and it's done until it's done, until there's a solution, which is very important coming up there. So the second read here just give me a second because I have a thingy on here. All right, so here's the second read. Same setup. Metatron on top, Nature's Whispers in the middle, and then the Shaman Dreams on the bottom. I'm going to just bring it up closer so they can see the cards a little bit better. And again, I always have a pile of cards at the end, almost always, and then the Shaman Dreams at the bottom there. All right, so this was done yesterday, and this was 7:44 to 47 p.m. last night. The 7 of the Chariot, the 44 of the Grounding, Integrating, and Mastering of Receiving of Love, and then the 47, which for me is the sweet spot, the numbers 4 to 7, right? You want to err on the side to 4 to 7, you know, hopefully over 5, but this is a range. And the numbers that first came up were 18, 1, and 3 from the piles, which is again the 18 of the Moon and Romance, the 1 of the Magician, the 3 of the Empress, the Magician, the Empress, and the Divine Masculine, and socializing, the Divine Masculine and the Earth Mother, and abundance, which abundance is the dance of the body's transmutation, because BUN is a marker for the kidneys. So how do your kidneys and liver function as far as transmuting your food and your drink? The Divine Mother also coming up here. The underlying energy of the 29 of the Mother Blue, who's present with gifts. The 33 of the Christ vibration, to be gentle with yourself. In the 30 of union, and the Om of the 30, the symbol looks like a 30 with the crown on top, but it's coming up as the Om without the crown. Right? 30 is the Four of Wands, the union energy. It's coming up as the Om, but without the crown. Right? Open it, because you want to open up your crown. The underlying energy of the 9 of the Hermit, and taking action, running with the big bird, where the beach meets the sea, 2 birds, the eagle and the phoenix, and the Om of the 30 and the 48 of walking away and within, into the void. The 50 of fulfillment of signs and synchronicities and messages with love from your spirit family. The 31 that transforms light and dark, pulling in the sun's light into the mother's dark blue, into her dark shadow pack, but it's coming up as dark blue here as opposed to black. Her serious alignment, holding space for you, always right behind you in case you fall. She allows you to have all the sun's attention, right? Because she's the shadow. She's always behind the light. Happy to be a grid holder. While, and this very much resonated with me, so it's bringing up that your mother ends up being a grid holder for you, and I felt very much when my mom was in the Alzheimer's facility with my dad that they were literally being grid holders for me, holding space for me while they were still alive. And then us, I'll do that the same thing for my child, so things will be more calm for me as she goes into more of her mission. While the 1 of the 46 and the 6 of Cups, the child's authentic self, allowing the child time to get to know themselves, the keyhole for the tear, the transmuting of the lock into the opening of the door. How could there be something that exists and locked up with the key thrown away and not be seen? It's a must, because if it is, it must be seen for it to be changed. The red of the 55 and the truth and Excalibur, the root of the truth, the suffering and silence, the strength and the power of safety and security, of the hand, the instrument, the powwow to make peace, and awake the wounded warrior's kundalini, the untapped energy source. The inner child's root and insecurities, the truth of the wounded warrior, the old human, right, as we're going into the fool's journey, no longer the wounded warrior. The mother's giving birth, passing the torch, the baton. Now it's their turn to run the human race, as the father shaman triggers their kundalini rising to the 54 of the Page of Swords' message of lies and lack of higher realms and magic. The magnetic inner child, taking off to the purple moon, leaving a sine wave trail behind, the daughter's independence and showing others the way. I'm gonna take you there to cool off the fields, the killing fields of Cambodia, the enclose or clamping 2 pieces together, the spring-loaded to open and close, to secure temporarily a body linking to another climber. The camera, the sun, something bent, crooked, or deformed, or deceitful, knotty or glass, approximately askew, a window, orange, footprint, phase, step, wrong, unjust, misdeed, to ask, inquire, and then Killington came up. The camera of the body, the shutter of the eye, and this is all coming up from Cambodia. The camera of the body, the shutter of the eye, the light of the body is the flame's height, in the body in connection with another, eye to eye, opening and closing, the wounded warrior's message of romance and time out needed for 2. The killing fields is a blanket of snow over the crop at 8:19, which was the same as the day, 8:19 yesterday, which is the strength and the dance of manifesting your dreams and the sun, with that energy of the sun and the exposure of the sun. At 8:21, again, the dance of completion of the 21, being whole and complete, coming full circle, the 33 of the Christ and the 38 of the Queen of Cups, Mary Magdalene, and her light body. The height of his flame. Remember, light, L-I-G, is flame, and H-T is height. Light is the flame's height. The light body is the height of his flame, lighting up the dimensional, the diamond connection gateway, a diamond being two almonds or two eye connection. He in the physical, she in the etheric, the two pillars, two flames, two lights and two wings, the pillars of flames exalted on a wing and a prayer. The Christ feeding the shaman and the peace pipe, the Mary Magdalene feeding the wounded warrior and the Kundalini rising, clearing out of the pipes. I was just getting bagpipes as well, both toilet paper, as in the TP, and the potty mouth. The shaman clears the poop, and the wounded warrior clears the air. So talking about both ends, the mouth and the pooper. The JC and the Mary Magdalene romance, with 18 cards coming out here, again romance, and at the bottom of it is the 10 of the new dawn, and at the top is the King of Cups, these 37 of unconditional love. To detach and look up, to see the dawning of a new day. The Carpenter Bee and the Buttercup C, and the Page of Wands, 26, of that inspired young one, that pink energy of the scalloped Magdalena in the life bulb of the womb. In compassion of the child within, who's powerless when he's in or she's in your womb. The Page of Wands, I always get the more masculine energy, but the child in your womb. The 5 of communication and the message in a bottle, right? You don't have to talk to your child to communicate with them when they're in your belly. It's kind of that, intuitive but innate connection that you have with your child. The message in a bottle that never came through. And again, this can be referencing a child that you didn't have, whether you had a miscarriage or an abortion. The energy of the miscarriage, the message in a bottle that never came through, right? Because each of us is a message from God. And so the children don't come through, don't get to bring their message. They never had a mouthpiece, a chance to speak for themselves. The 12 of the Hanging Man and the Divine Masculine Wise Open Book Test. The 17 of Conquering Fears of the Divine Feminine, to take one step at a time to make dreams come true. In the Aqua Rose Gold Mother's Heart of Love and Harmony, with the 6 of Love, Family, and Community. And the Compassion in the Sunset of endings each day in a purge. And that doesn't have to be that you're crying every day. It's just to let go, give all that up to your ancestors in the sunrise at sunset, to let go and be present again. The 7 of the Chariot, to take a dive. The icosahedron, icosa, I matter. And the need to honor yourself with water, water, water. To be more friendly, like the dolphin. The 42 of the 2 of Cups and going with the flow, 1-to-1, on the salt river of the mother's creation. And the 34 of energetic exchange with your ancestors. And the cosmos's wake-up call that's mirroring you too, in the decade of, and the 2 decades from 9/11, of the 39 of the Knight of Cups, the Emerald Order, to heal the green broken heart. The 40 of the Page of Cups, evolution of the new inner child. The 36 of the weight of the world that they carry, with maps and directions, but now need new maps and directions, right, for the galactic world, not just Earth. Listen to those children. They know what they're doing, right? Their genetics are different than ours. The 16 of the Tower and the gold. It's like the jet metroliner of elevators, straight up to the Ancient One. An explosion and implosion all at the same time, just like the Epiphany and sexual exchange, all at the same time. The Holy Grail, the tunneled 6 rail, or G rail, of high vibe destiny. Welcome back to the new dawn. The Lord double U's, the sine wave to the central sun, the twin flame 2-eyed needle, the push and pull of the quantum energy source. The Queen of Cups wakes up the King of Cups, for them to detach from drama and look up to the new day, the sunrise, her sunshine, her unconditional love, or endless love. At 8:43, the dance of the 43, which can be the Emperor and the Empress, or the 3 of Cups, of coming together in joy. The underlying energy of hope and happiness, being free and wild, of the 48, going within to the bountiful harvest of the twin flames, the magic and making a wish of the inner child and their magnetics, the 1 of the magician, the 33 of the Christ vibration, and being gentle with oneself, the 9:26 of the hermit and the Page of Wands, and the 8 of the dance, in the breakthrough from the beach to the wave, the free dive into the chaos of transformation, like doing a belly flop into the ocean, the 13 of transition and renewal of peace, the baby in the nook of the tree, and all the animals who have come to see, the 2 of illumination of the daughter to the moon, ready for a romance of her own, the 41 to be in service to the small, the little seahorse, her light, and the 36 of Atlas, her awakening, the map, Esther Williams in synchronized swim of intuition, the intuit connection of twin towers of you and I, in the water, all lit up, the 38 of the Queen of Cups in that Mary Magdalene energy of the acceptance of love, in a breakthrough of romance, and the child's empowerment in purging and allowing themselves to purge the past and let go. And only one card came up in this pile for this deck, and that was number 10, open your heart to your destiny. A swan romance, where the little ones are up to something sneaky but loving. Then at 9:33, which is the Hermit and the 33 of the Christ vibration again, the underlying energy of the benefactors of grace and generosity. The 3 of the Empress and abundance in the abundant mushroom. The 2 cuddling and watching the show and enjoying it immensely. The 60 of peace and the totems piggybacked in the desert, also watchers. The tie-on connection of the tiger and the lioness at peace. The 57 of the unmarked trail of the green labyrinth of nature, and the great pressure in the separation for the coal miner's daughter to become the double diamond horseman, heralding in the change, the Knight of Wands of union, as the king of the hill in energetic exchange with the lay of the land, for only getting to the top of the hill allows them to see the lay of the land and the cropped circles below. The tiger and the lioness, the tie and the lie, the grrr and the oneness of the 22 of the fool's embrace of Cannonball Run, the knowing, the cognizance, the clearance on the sphere to compete in the human race, to flee from danger, run a red light, to juggle a pattern continuously, to melt, move quickly, or flow, to control or manage or run for election, to exert, proceed, smuggle, print or broadcast, to sort, extend, continue, operate, execute, to become different, to unravel, to permit or be driven, to tease and venture, to make the machine work, to grow, tend and be attached, and consequence, to encounter and suffer as the ball nears the hole. It was a good run, a flight, a trip, a good try, trial, voyage, one playthrough, a state of being, a current, a series, a rapid passage of music and harmony, a leak, a fast gallop, a scoring, a pair, or set of milestones in a liquid state, exhausted, traveled, migrated, or smuggled, beamed, witchcraft, a whisper, mystery, secret, and advice or writing, to tremble, to shiver, to be all shook up. Cannonball Run. And all of that had to do with the word run. At 9:54, where the Hermit meets the Page of Swords, where the pebble meets the cement. How does the phrase go? I can't remember. Where the runner, meets the dirt and they get going. The Hermit and the Page of Swords. The horseman travels up the mountain to be the king of the hill. And then there's nowhere else to go. So they jump in Cannonball Run, right? They take that leap of faith in a ball. The journey of the 22 and the fool's journey of ego sublimation. The 4 of Swords in the 5D connection and the vanishing mirror, smashing particles together until they stick in the 58 of the 4 of Swords, 5D connection. The 4 of the Emperor and the caterpillar, the opportunity to shift and twist into something else. The 1 of the Magician, the 59 of the 5 of Swords, which is the inner war, the moment before the 1 to 60. The Magician's tidy house, to the 5 of Swords war within, right? Because if he's expecting everything to be perfect, there's going to be a war within, of the wailing tree in reconciliations, or the tree that was cut down to make that tidy house may now have a bone to pick with you. And then 3 cards came up, which is the 19 of the falling angel exposed in the 40, which is the Page of Cups, and a mindful group think, to the 56, which is the wall projecting the show above and behind the audience, like in a movie theater. It's the fun of not knowing where it comes from and yet knowing all at the same time. At 10 o'clock, so 3 zeros behind the 1, and then exposure, the secret, and the innocence between. And the movie that came up last night was Flight, and that was at 10:33. So 13 and 31 come up significantly in this next read too. The Flight was a good movie, right? It really makes you look at the shadow and the light of each person, right? Because nobody is perfect. So this was someone who was an ace pilot in the movie who saved the plane in a landing, and yet he was drunk, when he was flying the plane, which all that stuff in the beginning of the movie. So if you want to watch the movie, it's a good movie to watch. It was an older movie. It's Denzel Washington. So that came up. And that came up in a lot of different ways, right? Because that'll come up in this next read as well. So here's the third read. I don't want to get ahead of myself because I'm going to start going into the read that I'm about to tell you. All right, so here's the last of the messages of the day, and then we'll get into the 7-deck read on the table. So same setup as before. I'm just going to bring it up a little closer so you can see the cards. Metatron top, Nature's Whispers the middle, and then the Shaman Dreams at the bottom. So this one was done today. And again, like I said, it's 5:50 on the clock now. The 55 of the truth coming up with source backing it up. And yeah, so today's the 20th, the judgment, the decision. And it adds up to 34-7, which is the 8 of Wands, the arrows of love, but a lot of back and forth energy. And I did this read at 9:33 to 36. So that Hermit again in the Christ vibration of the 33, which then is the 34, 35, and 36, which is the 8 of Wands, 9 of Wands, 10 of Wands. Right? The Wounded Warrior and the Atlas energy in there too. So the 3 piles came up 10, 6, and 25, which is the Wheel of Fortune, Destiny, the 6 of the Lovers, 25 of the Knight of Wands. So the destined lovers, the Knight of Wands inspired but with a slow burn. The underlying energy of the 42, 2 of Cups, to go with the flow, with the 38 of the Queen of Cups, in the acceptance of love, and the 27 of the Heart Home of compassion. And it was coming up as calm passion, and instead of acceptance of love was coming up as the axe, test of love. And then the going with the flow is coming up as, where it says paddle on, was coming up as the pod, and according to the pod, which POD is also pay on delivery. The 42 of the 2 of Cups, 1-1, to pay on delivery, and according to the 38 Queen of Cups, in the axe test just once. The 27 of the Ace of Wands for the calm passion, and the 26 of the Page of Wands in the pink card of that life bulb in the womb. The 3 of the celebrating differences and coming together here, and then the 35 of the Wounded Warrior and the lost compass. Remember, compass is part of compassion, the calm pass connection. The Page of Wands, the Empress, and the Wounded Warrior, which can be a mother and 2 fiery kids. But the pink is coming up as the pie, which is the circle with the line down the middle, and the ink. The inspired, abundant, and one who lost their way. The 35 of the Wounded Warrior, and then the 61 and 62, which is that 7 of Swords and 8 of Swords. Inspired by the Wounded Warrior to the 61 and 62, which can reference a year or an age, 61 to 62, with the 54 message from the 51 of the King of Swords. And at 9:55, the Hermit and the Truth, the underlying energy here is the Hermit, where the Page of Cups comes up first, number 40, and then the 9 of the Hermit, the innocent one, and then the Hermit running around with Big Bird and Tree, which was funny because I was running around with Teddy this morning outside with this tree that I told you about that I was taking pictures. And this is a message of love here from the bird family, receiving a message from your spirit family. So pay attention to the messages they're leaving you, or maybe feathers they're leaving you, or things like that. Or the cicada, the dead cicadas all over the ground. And then at 11:31, a bird hit the window. The bird was okay, it flew back to the tree, but did hit a window at 11:31, which is justice and alignment of the chaos, the chaotic energy. At 12:47, the Hanging Man and the Seven of Cups. In transforming that 31 energy of the sun into the shadow pack of the mothers who are always standing behind you to catch you when you fall, you get the sunshine, you get the light, and she gets the shadow pack. She's the grid holder energy. Processing the 28 of the twin flames in the double diamond electromagnetic grid, or the journey from orange to gold, the aura of unity, straight to the ancient one. The 42 of going with the flow on the whispering bench 1-to-1, the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands, to stretch and release with pink and orange. Again, the Page of Wands and the Queen of Wands. It's like the mother and child, but it can be siblings or just two fire signs as well, of compassion. The life bulb energy in the womb of the Page of Wands, and then the Queen of Wands, who needs to release excess energy 1-to-1 in the dance of leadership with flame in hand, answering the call with the 53 of the Knight of Swords to unlock the roots, to free the roots of the quantum entanglement by icing the fields. And then here the incubus came up again. But incubus can just be a nightmare. But it's that energy of, so the incubus and succubus is, the incubus is the man coming to the woman at night sexually, and then the succubus is the woman coming to the man at night, right? It's the lying on the person. So it can be referenced as a horror, gigolo, coming to the person at night. But it also just means the nightmare, the oppression of the woman, to lie upon the woman, right? So it's referencing the oppression of the man and the woman by these dark energies. But the cube was coming up more significantly in these two words. The 12:57 of the Hanging Man and the Three of Swords, of that heartbreak and separation or just disappointment. And in succubus, cube and us was coming up, but then I took the in and suck together, which means absorption, to soak up, to inhale. And also suck means juice, to absorb, strength and power. Also means the number to the third power, as in 3 times 3 times 3. It also means third grader, and cubic units were coming up here. And then cubus, C-U-B-U-S, is a mass quantity, mutual, equal, of knowledge and conscious at the same time. It's also the cub here coming up here, right, which is just a child, a small gull, a mountain bandit, right, the little imp, the child, the cube, or the cub. The insuccubus, so instead of incubus and succubus, it's coming up as the insuccubus, the absorption, or in juice, in power, a mass quantity of mutual, equal, knowledgeable, and conscience in cub bus, suck cub bus, or in other words, the school bus, silly, the journey to get to school. The cubits of the pyramids, the queen's chambers are 11 cubits in the pyramids, and the grasshopper, her young student with talent, coming up here. So again, the third power would be like 11 times what was coming up here is 11 with the 11 cubits of the queen's chambers, and 11 times 11 times 11 is 1331, which is 13 reflected on itself, the 13 of death and transition to the 31 of chaos and life. And if you draw that 1331, it literally comes up like this. Okay? So the 1331 over here is 11, 11, 11. This is 11, 11, 11 with the hourglass on its side, okay, between the two, because that's the X. When you're writing 11 times 11 times 11, it literally looks like that. But then it comes up as 2 ones on the outside with 2 hourglasses on their side, but not the infinity, it's the hourglass, right? It's got half of the circle cut off. But it's coming, and then I looked up 1331, and one of the things that came up was that grasshoppers have 11,000 known species after grasshoppers just came up with 11. So here it's coming up again. Grasshoppers and 11,000 known species. And the message spiritually coming through with the grasshopper was change, persistence, and to take that leap of faith. The other energy coming up around the 11 times 11 times 11 was this picture that I drew at the top of the page and how the twins come together. And this is again is that picture of the 11, 11, and 11 all coming together when you squeeze the numbers together. So this is coming up. They all reflect between 1 and 3s. But also it looks like a candy wrapper, or the valves of the vein. So again, the divine feminine high priestess with a time out with the dragon, the purple moon, and the pyramid for Sirius alignment with the mother. The divine feminine, sun, and mother at Atlas, the beacon of light at 120, which is the magician and the 20 of the wake-up call, the clarion call. The electric waves to the magnetic mountain, creating a light upward or flame height, the auric field or sine wave path to the central sun. The queen's wave, remember the queen's wave is like a sine wave. She cups her hand back and forth. The queen's wave to the grasshopper, the one that picks you up and takes you there, right, like a grasshopper flight. The auric key through the arcs and the steeples, or in other words, the bridges and the gates, to overcome, or in other words, trump gate, to rise above doors and just be in, right? There's no doors or windows to walk through. You just are in. The hydrating moon of the Hydra, moral, human, emotes and drinks, to the dragon who drags on and inspires, who breathes in. The snake, the dragon, and Sirius connection all surround Orion for intervention of Beetle and Bella twins. The Sirius mother, the B&B, for Procyon, or the descendants experience. A legacy, the winter triangle, triangles, as Cryon says, the winter of consciousness that we're in now. The mother, the twins, and their progeny, with Hydra's heads and dragon's breath, shedding skins and purifying the air to ether. The salty and fresh rivers coming together in the 3D and 5D versions of the wave meeting the mountain to create energy. The quantum twin flame double-eyed push and pull energy at 133 here, smashing the tiniest of parts to get to the heart of it, sewing the quilt back together. At 134, the magician and the energetic exchange, the arrows of love, the sewing the fabric of the quilt back together, the fabric of our lives, the cotton gin or Gandhi's wheel, the white puffy clouds that strands and tear us all together, or ties us all together, one stitch at a time. And then cotton was broken down into CO, TT, and ON. The twin towers that are just on, right? Like the light switch is just on. And the twin towers is also, the TT of cotton is also pi. So you have the pi on. It's like the light switch is on. Or it's also, the pi looks like the top of a screw. The head of a screw. The head of a screw between company and Old Norse is on. 2 equal and on. At 141, the magician and the Ace of Cups, the self-love, spiritual love, and new love. And then 10 cards came up. At the top of it all was the 6 of love, the aqua rose gold heart, and Saint Dolphin of the 22 and the Fool's Journey, that he's with you here now, Saint Dolphin or Sandalphon, and the 49 of the 9 of Cups and getting your wish, and we are family. So coming up again, the lover's journey to self-satisfaction, the love of self, and the 10 of high vibe new dawn of your destiny. Dawn, remember, is coming up as Lord W, the sine wave to the central sun at 144, the diamond core to the sun's crystalline rays, the diamond, which equals the two-eyed crystal needle in the haystack of rays. And this was bringing me to where I always find my beings if I'm taking pictures. It's always when there's some fuzz, like if I get a sun ray that goes across the pictures, it makes it much easier to find the energies, right? If it's a clear picture, you don't see anything. And then if you have a ray kind of fuzzing across the picture, you see a lot. So the two-eyed crystal needle of haystack of rays, finding the needle in the light rays, as the haze of the rays shows you what you can't see with your human eyes. The 35 of the wounded warrior's kundalini rises to the 54 of the page of swords and the castle on cloud 9 for messages. From lies to lax, to lilac higher realms and magic, the magnetic inner child, the I am cub, the Milky Way, the 17 of the dreams, where dreams are only a breath away, conquering fears and cold fronts. At 149, the magician and the nine of cups of getting your wish, self-satisfaction. The 3 of the earth and the abundance of the mother, the creation of the abundant earth, and the collective awakening with the cosmos mirroring you in that wake-up call. The clarion call home, the clear channel where the land meets the sea, meets the sky, meets the I am presence, the mountain. I am the mountain. And then I am the tall tree. So here R. Kelly's coming up again. So again, R. Kelly's that perfect example of you know, having a big talent, but also having a shadow side as well. And again, right, who are we to judge? We don't even know him personally. We don't know what happened. We don't know what is going on. And yeah, maybe he's a bad person and a good person, or maybe he's very talented and he's a terrible person, but we don't know that. It's that everybody has a shadow side and a light side. And to be loved no matter what. Like don't let somebody else's negative energy take your energy down. You always keep your energy at a high vibration and allow them to work to come up to your vibration instead, right? To just stay in the love. We are the message inside the instrument calling to be played, just needing a mouthpiece, a platform, a forum, or a form, F-O-R-M, the F of the freedom to expand and contract or just stay in the middle and reflect. The inchworm or the snake, on me, the serpent, the scorpion, taking your time in the sine wave fashion on the runway, or biting and stinging and allowing another to bite or sting you. It's always your choice. The worm versus the scorpion, the snake versus the serpent, the mother and child, the bear and the cub. At 159 is the magician, and the moment before there, of the 59 and the 5 of swords, of the 17 of dreams and infinite blessings, of clouds, snowflakes, and fairy dust. The 41 of the Ace of Cups and the octopus teacher, with a foster cub, the seahorse, or a sea dragon is it, all curled up in a sine wave. See in the sun's rays. In loving service, the 44 of grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love. Atlas seeking beauty. After the 46 soulmates are in gratitude and appreciation of each other, as the 4D bridge has been completed, that rainbow circle around the earth. The birthday wishes all over your cap in dandelion wishes, right? And there's the Dan energy of Lord of the Lion wishes. And snowflakes. The 49 again of getting your wish, of self-satisfaction, of heightening your vitality, with the 25 of the Knight of Wands, where the blue baby here is blowing you a kiss to keep your dreams alive. That's support from the other side. Perhaps a grasshopper or a new student. And the 38 of the Queen of Cups, with full acceptance of love in the tree trunk romance, or in other words, a book or a story, right, made out of a tree trunk. So at 207 is the High Priestess and the Chariot, where the 3 is the Empress, and celebrating our differences here, of coming together in joy, the unicorn and the dolphin in our sameness, the 12 of the Hanging Man in expansion of the 12, which is also a 3, in a hand fasting, practicing with a child in order to bring in the deal, where land meets sea and the sea meets land, is where 2 mountains come together or two lands sharing the sea, the valley between, the shared space, and yet still independent and yet tied together and holding hands. So again, that's that picture that I showed you before of how the masculine and feminine come together with the infinity, which in the other page was coming up as the hourglass instead, right? Because the half that's their independent part wasn't being shown in the hourglass. The hourglass was just showing you the shared space between you, right? The liquid space. So the expansion of the 12-3 in the hand fasting, or practicing with a child to bring in the deal, where land meets sea and sea meets land, is where two mountains come together, two lands, sharing the sea, the valley between, the shared space, and yet still independent and yet tied together and holding hands. You are not tied together by your children, but by your inner children, your cub, the grasshopper. That island hops and can take you there. That island hops and can take you there. And then again, the energy of the movie Flight, where someone is, are they a drunk versus are they a one-of-a-kind pilot? And in going to jail, which kind of felt bad because the people didn't die in the crash because of his alcoholism, but because of the faultiness of the plane. But he still shouldn't have been flying, right? Because he was drinking. So in going to jail, he actually finds himself and then helps others in jail, and he stops drinking. It becomes a win-win. The 18 of the moon romance of new experiences and possibilities. A she-knight in the round table of King Arthur's court, or Arthur Ashe, a bright light and tenness. Destined niche, a new start, preparation for a new journey in destined water, +2, now, watery juice, destined to absorb and take in the emotion, to process it as 2, not too sweet, but just right, at the right angle, or in other words, left, the L. And the L and the R together become the B of the 13, the transition to the 31, right, of life and death, death and life, control and chaos, to resistance and attachment, to boundaries and allowance, to love and peace, or love and light, the flame and height, how high can you climb, with longitudinal interference, or direction, your own inner GPS. The 34 of energetic exchange, of vulnerability of the little fairy girl in the dried leaf, trusting it to carry her down that Borealis river while she sleeps and is in another world. The Atlas map, and crown on, the brain on fire, in the intuition or intuit connection, the twin towers of you and I, and also the twin towers of I am on. The 50 of family, allowing you to be so vulnerable that you can be open to your intuition, that potential gateway. The heart of the tree in a whole nother world, where 6 cards came up here of the lovers, love, family, and community, and the 4 of the emperor, who stands strong as the little fairy girl pauses to touch down. The 43 of coming together in ground control to Major Tom, where the bird opens up to come in for a landing as the old ship has sailed at 2:39, the High Priestess and the Knight of Cups. The 37 of the King of Cups, an ideal course of action, which is, of course, unconditional love, and coming together with other lands, like Mexico and South America was coming up here. And the 22 of the leap of faith on the high wire, the thread of cotton, the cloud strand, and a cushion below, the web, after being present with gifts and contemplating, what if butterflies and lions do exist together? The 11 of aligning with the equator and the desert versus the jungle here, and making a decision. At 2:43, the High Priestess and the 3 of Cups, aligning to make a decision, grasshoppers, pyramids, or jungle land. And then at 2:44, the underlying energy of the horned cactus, who's very independent in the desert, or the water and straddling 2 worlds. In the perfect storm, number 44, in the vortex of the raven peacock on the eagle's perch? Or is that the crow with fancy feathers on a small gull's porch? Here they come, walking down the street. So that was coming up again. The 16 of sudden empty well and the time to replenish. The 53 of the Knight of Swords. The stranger who's suddenly curious about diving deep in. The 27 who's inspired to the heart home of compassion or calm passion, that slow burn, or the easy pass connection. The 35 of the wounded warrior who lost their way with 1111. And you notice that if you did a WW all connected at once, it looks like two butts together, two sets of butts. But the WW smushed together is literally 5 ones. So if you put the 1111 time over the WW, there's 4 lines that are covered by ones, but then the middle 5th line is covered by the 2 dots of the time. So the wounded warrior lost their way regarding 1111 in alignment as the 35 wounded warrior, because on this clock it's 11 before 11, which is actually 10:49, not 11:11, as opposed to 11 after 11. Destined to self-love here only, as opposed to the 11:11 of aligning with oneness, with inspiration and compassion, and the wounded warrior having lost their way, or breathing easy with easy pass, and a map or compass or calm pass. After all, the compass connection equals compassion and calm passion. The whale song of hydrate and resonate, or hydra and re-sun, regarding the sun. The whale is very deep and hydrates well and has a song of resonating, re-sun-ate, resonate, res innate, which was what Cryon was talking about. And res is just plural of re, referencing, which res also means nothing and anything. The flock, the herd, the cattle, the small of the back, matter, affair, story, event, the deed, the circumstance, liver, guts, and the scales of the fish. So the quote-unquote res of the innate, the references and the rays, in being unforgettable, as in the gnat in innate. The history and her event, her matter, his affair, his deed, her circumstance, he a liver and she with guts, both scales of the fish, Jesus. Jesus, you got a scalped Magdalena dessert for the lady here? Taking a risk with the will-o'-the-wisp and finding the treasures in the shadows, as while on a treasure hunt, X marks the spot, but 3 lines down and they got lost with just one big question mark. But with a pinch of fairy dust and a squeeze of juice, we're off to the races and going the distance. As then what came up there was juice. And of course none other than OJ came up here. But when I looked up online, what came up first was General Hospital, Game Changers, and Willow's Very Life hinges on a huge decision. And that had to do with leukemia on the soap opera. And then Willow defends her father's humanness in slapping someone, right? And then OJ comes up as the football star and the murderer. So again, referencing the light and the dark, right? The football star versus the murderer and the runner, literally. And Will slapped someone, defend, and say, look at the difference here, right? So OJ murdered 2 people, and Will just slapped someone in the face. And see how people, what a big deal. I mean, literally, growing up, my mother slapped me in the face and gave me a bloody nose. But nobody made a big deal about that. And here, like, the whole world is torturing Will because he reacted in defense of someone he loved. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying it's, was blown way out of proportion. The OJ football star. So again, this is just, it's not about my opinion here. It's about the light and the shadow in everyone. So OJ was coming up with the juice and the running back. He's the broadcaster, the actor, the felon, and the 49er, and Buffalo Bill. He's a Cancer. He's born 7/9/47, and he was sentenced to 33 years after he got off of the murder charges. He was then sentenced for things related to the murder for 33 years. He left prison on October 1st, 17, on parole to December 14, 21, and was discharged for good behavior. The end date was supposed to be February of this year, but he got out early for good behavior. So then at 323, the Empress and the King of Wands, he now lives in a gated community in Las Vegas playing golf and twittering. 54 is the Page of Swords. So after a release of the Wounded Warrior for lying, cheating, stealing, and killing, so to speak, and the killing fields came up, the Page of Swords with a message here, the taking down of the cross in order to build a bridge, crossing mountains, the initiation of the King of Swords, in meditation in the middle of the bridge, right? Can someone be redeemed? Are we going to stay in that loving energy no matter what, and not fall to the other energy, but let them rise up? The King of Swords meditating in the middle of the stone bridge, as opposed to the wood bridge we started out with. After the release of the Wounded Warrior for lying, cheating, stealing, etc., the Page of Swords with a message, the taking down of the cross to build a bridge, crossing mountains, in the initiation of the King of Swords, meditating in the middle of a stone bridge, then creating a portal with the stars of limitless possibility. Has a man done his time? And the Knight of Wands of the 25, with 25 cards coming up here. The 36 of Atlas, and Lost in Space, because remember, the old Atlas is only good for the Earth. It doesn't help you with other directions, right? So the Atlas got lost in space because they only had a map that was good for the Earth directions, and she with drops of Jupiter in her hair. The 60 of Peace of the Desert Watchers comes up here in the Tyon connection, the Tyon totem, which is coming up as the Tiger and Lioness totem, piggyback on each other, right? Because when the colors drained out in the desert, you can't even tell the difference between the lion and the tiger here. And then Ryan O'Neal came up in a love story and his birthday is April 20th, so he's Aries. And that movie is famous for where love means never having to say you're sorry. So Ryan O'Neal, he's still alive. He's, I think, 81 years old. He has myelogenous leukemia that he's had since 2001, and he's had prostate cancer since 2012. He was on and off with Farrah for 30 years, which, as you all know, she passed away when she was 62 in 2009. Ryan O'Neal was first very famous by doing the movie Paper Moon with his daughter Tatum O'Neal, which was in 1973 with Tatum and Ryan. And what came up now is that she had written an autobiography about the dysfunctional relationship between her and her father. And then Redmond, his other son, he's got kids from 3 different wives. Redmond was arrested recently for attempting murder, May 2018, but he was deemed not competent to stand trial. So the totems piggyback in peace, aligning with the deep quiet of meditation, as the benefactors of abundance, grace, and generosity are watching from the mushroom, through the eye of the needle, and dreams coming true, the transition of the dream thief, refusing to wake, or those purposely keeping others asleep. Now the dream thief, drifting patiently in transition with the eyes of the eagle, and 18 as the oracle of romance, the 33 of the divine masculine's muse, the 38 is the Queen of Cups, the divine feminine with many masks hanging out in the dragon's hoard, his garden of Venus, the 25 of the Knight of Wands in the winter of consciousness, the gestation period, the 9 of the Hermit's balancing act on one foot, because remember she's sharing the other foot with her twin, the 42 of the 2 of Cups and casting a net 1-to-1 as preparations, I'm getting preparation H, as preparations come to fruition in the jeweled web, which is the Jew, L, Elohim, and then the ED of extra dimensional, or Mr. Ed, which I referenced God as Mr. Ed. A Jew L Ed Web, the 32 of the group connection, the 40 of the Page of Cups, of the vulnerable heart mind, the players on the stage, with the image projected by others, not themselves, knowing that the wall within very well. So the actor knows the wall within very well, but do they know you if you acted too well, right? Because do they ever know the real you? All the world is a stage, and the 23 of the King of Wands, who's the man of passion, he gets a free pass in a sense, right? Because he's got the luck and right timing and the good looks to take him there, where the wheel turned in their favor. But what other lessons did they have to learn on their way? It's something totally different. The 352 of the Empress and the Queen of Swords. But now that King of Wands is in the galactic mushroom with no lay of the land. He doesn't have a map for the galactic mushroom. And the 24 is the Queen of Wands' territory now, with heart in her hand to transmute the chaos. The sky dancers surrender and off with their heads in the dance of right use of power as lovers in the cosmic womb of the divine feminine now. The Knight of Cups in Metox, the shaman healing thyself, physician heal thyself, and Puff is now spaced out, and Jackie Paper Moon is over romancing the stoned. At 356, the Empress and the Two of Swords. The bridges of wood, stone, and bathtubs here, the 9/11 memorial, all lie over troubled waters and clearing the air between. At 358, the Empress and the 58 of the Four of Swords. Okay, so that was number 3. And now the 7-deck read on the table, which isn't terribly long. And here is that read. All right, so here's the 7-deck read on the table. Sorry about my finger in there. And that's the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And then here's the full 7-deck read. Okay. So the SIRIAN Starseed deck was cut and dealt at 432, the Emperor and the Journeyman. And then at 442, which is the Two of Cups, E of Orbs came up. And E is energy, but it's also, the capital E is 1 equal and congruent to of orbs, which is thoughts and words, but also blind men and orphans. And also BS came up, the BS, right? And perhaps of the King of Pentacles here. At 454, I finished the clarifiers of the Emperor and the Page of Swords, the message. And the only major arcana that came up in this read today was Karma, which is the Judgment card. And after the read, the Hanging Man came up, but that was it today. There were 3 wands, 3 swords, 2 pentacles, and 2 cups. So 3322, again, the Christ vibration and the Fool's Journey, which also comes up as the 40 bridge and the 5D station. 33 is the bridge, 22 is the station, 11 is then the instant manifestation of the 60, and then the double zeros of the 7, where you basically kind of disappear from a 3D perspective. The Knight of Wands, the King of Wands, and the King of Swords came up here as the main players. The Knight of Wands, King of Wands, and King of Swords. And before the read, the King of Pentacles came up, so a lot of masculine energy there. We had triple ones, again, masculine energy, and that can be referencing the 3 kings. We also have 22, 33, 55, and 77 coming up here. So the triple ones of New Beginnings, the 22 of the Fool's Journey, the 33 of the Christ vibration again, besides the 3322 that came up already, the 55 of the Truth and Excalibur, the 77 of the Sovereign, and then we also have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all came up together. Pick up sticks, but also the Lovers, the Journey to the Lovers, the 1, 2, 3 jump, the 12 of the Hanging Man, the 23 of the King of Wands, 34 of the 8 of Wands, the 45 of the Purge of the 5 of Cups, the 56 of the 2 of Swords, the 67 of the Knight of Pentacles, the 79 for me is the Pot of Gold at the end of the rainbow, and then 9, 10 begin again. The code line was all about love, perseverance, creativity, and adventure. but also communication, patience, karmic completion, a lot came up here, relationship change, and love partnership. And it was all about the number 5 here. The source path of the M, which can be co-creation for me, the capital M is 2 1s with the V between. But instead of the co-creation between the chakra systems of the lowercase I with the dot being the third eye, the uppercase I is the I am presence. It's the co-creation of the I am presence. So the source path of the M, and that can be the mountain, the Mary, the mother, however you want to take that. M of Imana, which is the Pleiadian god, the she god. The Christ Sophia coming up here is the co-creation mass. Instead of Christmas, coming up as the Christ Sophia mass for those in exile that are one, equal, and congruent to all of those things: love, perseverance, creativity, adventure, communication, patience, karmic completion, relationship change, love, and love partnership. 'Tis the trademark, mass or malformation without food rations or without reaction, 2 out in the cold or out in the heat and energized, 1 equal and congruent to all that I mentioned. The source path of the M and the mass to leap out in the cold together, 1 equal and congruent to the others, again, regarding love and all the other, and the perseverance of creativity. 'Tis the time of out, it's a time out mass, all right, a group time out, to be complete, to finish everything. And Atum, the god Atum, but is coming up as autumn for lovers, 1 equal and congruent to the other, love, perseverance, and creativity, and the adventure of communication, patience, and the karmic completion, relationship change, and love partnership. Sourcing Sophia, totally finished with autumn, to keep warm, nourish, without reflection of crystals, or being Christ-like, or crystals energized. So it's like this is a big time out right now for the feminine, to just take a time out. Also the strange, remarkable person here coming up, and weapon of mass destruction, but without the weapon or without counsel, out in the cold, in exile, or sick or injured, recovering, 1 equal and congruent to the lover, their perseverance, and their creativity. So the twin flames is the energy we start out with, and the underlying energy here. So the bottom of the deck right here is the twin flames upright with the mini cards on top. And beneath the twin flames is the Ace of Wands upright, 3 of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, 2 of Cups all upright, and then the King of Pentacles reversed just under the twin flames. With new passion, a big flame co-creating to stand up to drama. At the 2 of Cups with the King of Pentacles reversed, ungrounded, or without crystal skull, which can reference Akashic records. And the Queen of Pentacles upright and awake to rejection or insincerity or jealousy of twin choosing a new path, or offering to the Queen of Pentacles but worried that she will reject the offer. The Hermit is upright, shedding a light on the Queen of Pentacles upright and the King of Pentacles reversed, and they definitely came up together in the underlying energy at the end as well. You see these cards over here? This is the King and Queen of Pentacles. So they came up together in 2 different places. The Queen of Pentacles upright, the King is reversed. The King of Pentacles is making an offer of the Ace of Pentacles to the one who will stand up for and to him, or willing to pay for defense. Or the Queen of Pentacles Virgo and the King of Pentacles reversed with Virgo in their chart, both awake with the King of Pentacles turning her rejection into a win. Or the King of Pentacles willing to pay, taking the high ground, or willing to put up with them. It's like they're taking the high ground for them being willing to put up with them. After a fight, moving or unstable home, and leaving or knowing the Queen of Swords reversed may be weak with the Empress reversed, or without their mother, or the Queen of Swords reversed needs the courage and abundance to choose a path, and lacking faith in expressing their true feelings, or in the fall of a heated exchange. The goal is to grow up, but lacking faith, falling for X's usual games, or petty arguing here, unhappy letting go of little that's left, with the Hanging Man reversed, awake and their world complete, patching up and pointing toe, watching the balancing act at 7:20, the Chariot, and the wake-up call. The Knight of Wands upright, rescuing from the fire, and that could be firefighters coming up as well. The deception of obsession, or up early, obsessed with cutting hair cords or splitting hairs or DNA testing. A slow death, no longer being strong-armed by the beast, with dreams coming true, cutting out the cross-dressing or making cuts or cutting down palms or psalms for 7 sisters, or Aquarius upright, with Scorpio, Leo, and Gemini all reversed. Finding weapons or disarmament, extraction or tooth pulled, or distracting them for an intervention or makeover. Perhaps giving them a sedative to wax him or a pet at the beauty appointment or vet. Perhaps sick and contemplating putting them down. So I'm sorry if you're losing a pet, because I know that's so hard. Environment comes up with number 44, and beneath that is leadership in 81, which for me is the completion of karma around the world. With the Emperor upright in energetic exchange with the Ace of Pentacles reversed, withholding from the Knight of Cups reversed, rejected or jealous, and the High Priestess open with the Hanging Man trapped, with the Queen of Cups longing for Romeo, but the King of Pentacles reversed has had it, with the Page of Swords reversed, and 2 Buck who are always on his ass, or the King of Pentacles reversed fell asleep on a park bench, or OD'd on vanilla wafers, or got kicked off the bench. And I'm getting got lucked off the bench. Maybe they wanted to get kicked off the bench. Dumping responsibilities and not returning messages or immature responses. And then we have Pisces, and maybe 2 Pisces, and Capricorn upright here. Perhaps the Page of Swords reverse is an Aquarius. The Page of Swords reverse may be spreading rumors or lying and spying, perhaps about the twin, in a heated exchange with the world, the Divine Feminine, or Pisces star in green environment, or Pisces Aquarius are bored. Then we have the energy of the Knight of Swords going forward, reversed, holding their tongue with the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community with dysfunction or loss. Dissatisfied with the wounded warrior, King of Wands reversed, after a sudden event present to the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles who's reversed. Karma is upright here, or Judgment, or Aquarius, on a quest to take down the King of Swords in a breakup, break down, break in, out, or through, grounding, integrating, and mastering, or perhaps at the gym. Perhaps they rescinded an offer with the Page of Swords stepping up to get over it, for dreams to come true with no rest, and the Hermit upright advising on a wake-up call to the Page of Cups upright, innocent, or message of love, or puppy love here, the foundation of the Knight of Wands with a slow burn, with the Truth over Atlas with their head down, but in need of peace, and the King of Cups dealing with stressed out Queen of Cups reversed, or she is not sleeping. The central energy is the Four of Swords reversed and the awakening to come out, or again, someone not sleeping. The Page of Pentacles reversed in need of help or a missed opportunity to lead the way with the world. The Divine Feminine or Pisces, fully open and reaping rewards in the downturn, healing and blocking energies of the Emperor reversed, who could be out of control or perhaps stepping down. The challenge here is the Five of Pentacles reversed and recovery from a falling out with a third party, or unable to manifest, or being insecure without the tools. The Hermit coming out of the Mary Magdalene cave, but again above the group, not lowering their energy, but allowing them the time to come up to their energy. The tired and stuck, the unable to function, working to align with the wounded warrior who's on guard at the pool perhaps, or defensive and embarrassed or lacking faith, no longer putting all out there, big love at work, shocked or surprised that an inspection is over. At 7:48, the Chariot and walking away within. Perhaps with patient angel and the Page of Pentacles reversed needing help to wake up to the truth. Perhaps given to the Emperor reversed, or the King of Swords upright, failure or neediness, or tarnished or bad reputation. And now the Three of Cups reversed after a sudden event with third party, the King of Swords reversed, and the Knight of Pentacles reversed, tempted by the Holy Grail of the patient angel and their announcement or wake-up call here. Third party exposed or bad influences around kids, and the injustice of a confession only after the fact. The Two of Cups upright in bliss, over it, perhaps paralyzed, performing for the Queen of Wands, with secret passion walking away from star or dream. The Queen of Swords reversed, the Empress reversed, the Page of Wands reversed, all frustrated in a heated exchange or just not expressing their true feelings between each other, in an unstable home or settling out, as the Emperor reversed and the King of Swords is upright under the radar. Soon the King of Wands reversed with a secret passion may be deceived, and the King of Wands reversed who may be lying, cheating, and stealing, and yet unable to function at the same time. The post-war, they may be weak and dealing with PTSD or detoxing, with the Ten of Cups reversed, unhappy family, or the ending to an emotional cycle. The Ten of Cups reversed no longer being Scroogey with their time, money, or effort, and the twin flames seeing themselves as the King of Swords upright, with the Queen of Swords reversed at present, co-creating at work but frustrated, or the Page of Wands reversed may be frustrated, knowing about a breakup and dumping multiple loads. Emotional attachments are no longer confused about injustice, with Gemini and Libra both reversed here, and playfulness, past life relationship, and honeymoon. And the honeymooners could be coming up. At 7:59, the Chariot and the Five of Swords are the war and the end of the war. Around the twins are how they're seen as the Ace of Cups reversed, dumped, being dumped, dumped on, overwhelmed, sweating it out, and the Knight of Wands upright, leaving the Ten of Pentacles reversed, family, business, or community of dysfunction or loss, to release, purge, trigger for the Ace of Wands, new passionate offer to come in from the sovereign or their own sovereignty. The King of Swords overwhelmed by an offer of passion but without love in return, or the Knight of Wands upright leaving the Ten of Pentacles, who have been doing shopping therapy, to master thought and purge when a passionate offer comes in. The block is the Six of Pentacles. And so the block here for the twins is sharing, and then the Fool reversed, who fell for a narcissistic hierophant or marriage or commitment or business, or done stretching and growing with the All Boys Club, and a negative past with the Page of Cups upright, and post-war PTSD, awake and recovering, passing downloads to the Ten of Cups reversed and Nine of Cups reversed, and ending an emotional cycle of unhappiness to start a new life with the diamond in the rough at 8:08, which again is Lionsgate, or the twins dancing side by side with space between. The twin flames, Knight of Wands upright and the King of Swords upright, overwhelmed by a wake-up call, get up, the challenge being the recovery from exile of the King of Wands reversed, settling out with the bad influences of a group, or post-war of ego and downloads, ending emotional cycles and loneliness to recover and offer a new life. The twin flames, karmic restitution here. The Knight of Wands upright, awake and coming out, challenged by recovery from bad influences, overindulgences, or those who overindulge outside of yourself. The King of Swords is upright, the King of Wands reversed, who may be pushed to their limit and settling out post-war of egos and downloads, with the Ten of Cups family and the Nine of Cups dissatisfied with themselves, and then offering that Ace of Pentacles of paying out and offering a whole new life, or just paying someone back, or paying someone to help them out at 8:12, which is the dance and the 12 of the Hanging Man. So the Queen of Cups reversed is healing and released. The Emperor's upright, looking back at bliss at 9:33. The Hermit and the Christ energy, or standing up for yourself with the Seven of Wands. This is just extended information. It's really not part of the same read. Yeah. An unhappy family, though insecure, destined to offer the lover to the Six of Cups, the soulmate, with conditions, but not affection. And again, the Hermit dumping a load at a distance with the King of Wands reversed, uncomfortable with their powerlessness, to an announcement, a wake-up call to the King of Pentacles, and dissatisfaction with a journey to the fallen angel, Divine Feminine, and the Page of Wands reversed, frustrated, reaping rewards of rejection and embarrassment, or crying and lying, or feeling cheated by an early death or surrender, and unable to love or fight for the Queen of Wands and the Queen of Swords reversed, and letting go to make amends to the Ten of Pentacles, family at night, or in a romance, perhaps with the children or pets, with the Page of Pentacles and Page of Swords, or that could be the twins as well at 10:15, and at 10:08 the Gnat came by. So unforgettable is the Six of Cups soulmate there at 10:08, the 10 of destiny and the 8 of the dance. So we're already at almost 2 hours. So let me just pull an energy deck card, and that'll be it for today. What is our takeaway from all this? From the 3 reads, Mother, Father, Christ, Sophia, Mighty Creator, what is our takeaway? What is our takeaway from the 4 messages today here? And these came up right away. The Angel of Strength of 50, which is emotional fulfillment, and the power of the Divine Feminine here. And again, the Lioness and emotional fulfillment. But there's like 4 cards that came out here. The bottom of the deck is the 46, so again, the soulmates of the children, but also the mission of the masculine, finding his muse, what he loves to do, after the Page of Wands hostility and getting over that, finding his mission. But the first card out is the energy of the mother and the lioness, right? The strong angel here of emotional fulfillment and happy family, and the 7 of community. And the 7 is also the chariot of the feminine within the masculine, ascending together. And then we have the journey of the 2 of the feminine, and 7 and 2, the chariot and the high priestess. And again, we are family. So again, it could be very much about coming together, the feminines, right? The mother with the daughters, or with the mothers with a group, or just friends in general. But it's very much about the feminine energy here. And the journey of the younger ones, right, to their independence of the 2. And the 72 is also the 4 of Pentacles of the need to be practical. And then the yin-yang of the balance here on the journey, right? So this is children starting out for themselves, needing to learn how to do all this. They have all these choices now, but they also need to learn how to stay balanced and do these things for themselves. So again, the mother with the community, the mother with the daughters, and the children finding their independence, but especially the feminines here. Right, so this is what the feminine's doing, while the masculine is finding his mission here as the soulmate and the inner child. Okay, so there you go. So I'm going to let you go. Remember your water, remember your rest, your joy in nature. Remember to ground yourself, touch nature with your bare feet and your bare hands. Align your spine with a tree if you want. That can be very helpful. And follow your own instincts, your own intuition, and rise and be love. I'll see you guys soon. Have an amazing day, you guys. Bye.